Y'all ready for this?
Are you awake? Are you still sleeping? It was a night of all nights. I don't even know what time the game ended. It just depends on what time zone you're in. I know it was well after 3 a.m. Sunday morning before I went to bed. The double overtime thriller, Colorado State. Uncle Neely, you've been up since what, Friday? When's the last time you went to sleep?
I don't know. Here's what I do remember saying. When the game was finally over and we were going back to the locker room, I said, man, college game day was yesterday. Like it is a whole new day now. Man, it was a long, long day when you look at all the events and culminating with a double overtime victory. Some hours went by, Tolly.
Well, this is the pregame show Rewind, where we take a look back at the big weekend of the big rivalry between Colorado State and Colorado. Man, it had so much emotion. We're not going to dive super deep into X's and O's. We want you to check out the big boys for some of that breakdown with Coach Carl Reed. But, man, when we look back at a rewind scenario, Neely, let's just touch on the game a little bit. I want you to rewind us through all the emotions you felt. Now, I know you are team, I believe, and you knew it was going to be a victory. But that had to be an emotional roller coaster throughout that game on Saturday night, Sunday morning.
It was, but not an emotional roller coaster in the sense of doubt, disbelief, or, oh, man, we're going to lose this game. Just the emotional roller coaster at the ebb and flow of it all. But the game started before the game. You look at the coach commentary from their side and how our players were ramped up and their players were amped up. You knew it was building up to be one of those games where you were going to have a lot of penalties, particularly personal foul, unnecessary roughness kind of penalties, which came out to be in a rivalry game with emotions running so high. But I'll tell you this, Tolly, having been with Coach Prime now going into this season, the two previous seasons with Deion Sanders as quarterback, fourth season in all, if you count the time that I've been around head coach Deion Sanders, there was still never a doubt. You just knew, much like it was in that Celebration Bowl, if we get this ball with time on the clock, this game is going in overtime.
And that it did. Not one, but two. Look, Neely, everybody was tweeting about this. You had LeBron James tweeting about it, saying, Deion Sanders, you are a problem. We had Ashley Nicole Moss. She's a real popular sports personality. She was, in so many words, like, who else but Coach Prime would have us watching a Pac-12 game, all due respect, at 2 and 2:30 in the morning on a Sunday. So it was crazy. At Dwayne Wade watching the game, he said he was watching in his car. He had just landed at the airport. He's never watched a game in his car before. So, I mean, it is safe to say that the nation's attention was on that Colorado game. But let me say this, Neely. Can we go back to noon kickoff? I've thoroughly enjoyed that.
I have always been a huge fan of daytime college football. If nothing else, for the student athletes, they get done with the game, man, and get time to spend with their families and friends. When you get into those 8 p.m. schedules, particularly when you're on this coast, Mountain or California time, man, Pacific time, it's late back on the East Coast. And I tell you this, as much as Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, is a spiritual guy, I believe that the tithing was a little bit off the Sunday after the Sunday morning because a lot of folks stayed up late into the night, early into the morning, watching the conclusion of that game. And who knew, when you're favored by 20-plus points, playing an in-state rival that you call your little brother, that it would be a double overtime game with that many points scored.
Yeah, a lot of bedside Baptists on Sunday morning across the country. All right, we talk about this having the nation's attention. Let's go back to Friday. We're just going to unpack what the weekend was like. Neely, there are people in schools that would die to have First Take broadcasting on their campus or come into their city or their school. And as great as that was with Shannon Sharp, Stephen A., Molly, I watched it. It was a great opportunity. That was just the appetizer. Just talk about how the weekend built from, Friday. We kind of had that, and then it really rolled into not one but two networks broadcasting live there on a Saturday morning.
Well, Charlie, I got to step in here, man, and rewind it a little bit more than that, because earlier in the week, Wednesday and Thursday, you had 60 Minutes here filming. So, you went from 60 Minutes to all the big boys in Fox Broadcasting and ESPN broadcasting, doing live shows from here. on campus, different segments. It's one thing to have, one ESPN show, but they essentially brought their whole morning live sequential order here to the campus, just going back to back to back to back to back, interviewing players, interviewing coaches, doing segments, still covering all the other things that they would cover from the studio. But to do it with the backdrop of the Flatirons, the mountains right outside the campus, man, was just a sight to see. And what branding and marketing opportunities it meant for this program, this school. And as you roll into high school football and more kids are making their decision of where they want to go, or even college programs of guys who are already thinking about the portal, you can't beat the recruitment advantage that it gives to have those kind of networks be on your campus.
And make no mistake about it, these networks are trying to leverage this relationship here. When Coach Prime appeared on Fox, I can't remember the host, the main host name, but he was like, "Hey, Coach Prime, third week in a row, we've been with you from the beginning." He was like, he didn't say this directly, but I'm reading into it. I know ESPN is a little bigger than us in terms of college football, but we're with you. So, these networks understand what is being fed out of Boulder and how that in turn, you usually the relationship is this helps the school. This is helping the networks.
Yeah, absolutely. Make no mistake about it. When you are going down that aisle and you see Tolly Carr's face on the cover of the magazine, as Jay-Z said, rap mags want to use my black ass, so advertisers can give them more cash for ads, suckers. Don't make the mistake. Like, it is about advertising, man. And they know that the world's eye, the attention is on Boulder, Colorado, and this program because of one Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime. So the closest that they can get their programming to it and their broadcasting to it, they're going to do it because that means more eyeballs and that means more advertising bucks. It just is what it is. College football and football in general is a big business, and these networks understand it. And the gravitas and gravitational pull that Coach Prime has, it's going to week after week after week during this season make sure that networks are here covering games.
Neely, we had Offset there. We had Lil Wayne. We had The Rock. Look, The Rock was delivering the people's elbow on Friday night. He put one on my guy A-Town. I can't think of his name, but he puts the people's elbow on him, and then Saturday morning and into Saturday night he's there in Boulder. It's not like Coach Prime is asking or begging these people to show up to make them look good. These people want to be here, and they could have other things that they could be doing. Yeah,
the brother who plays Malcolm X on the series
was just there. I'm like, that's the dude.
He's just there. Jill, he was here, man. You looked at one point down on the back pylon toward the home locker room. Excuse me. There was Kawhi Leonard standing there. He didn't announce he was here, just showed up for the game. Chauncey Billups, who was a CU alum, was at the game. And like you said, it's not like Coach Prime sends out a text or a tweet and says, "Hey, man, y'all come hang out with me." These people want to be here. They want to see this in person. They want to be involved in it. Coach Prime had and his son Shador had a rich friendship with young Dolph, who passed away in Memphis. But his protege, Key Glock, was here, who's also been to many Jackson State games performing. But to have Lil Wayne bring your team out on national TV, man, what does that say to people out there who are thinking about which college they want to play ball in?
I mean, dude, arguably, I'll let you guys decide. My greatest rapper is Andre 3000, but Lil Wayne is many people's, greatest rapper of all time. He's there giving a little mini concert on Saturday morning, leading like Neely. This look, I don't care who you are, Georgia, Alabama. Look, these things, might happen however they happen, but like this thing is a regular and growing occurrence in Boulder.
Regular and growing, and not a distraction. It is part of parcel. It is how we do business here. It is life around Coach Prime. These players know how to do their jobs, go to school, and have the media attention and celebrity status. You will look up and here's Master P with his sons in the locker room, and guys are just walking by him like, he's Curtis P. Like they're just used to people like that being around, man. And it's good to see the networking that takes place, the conversation, the pouring into these young guys that the celebrities are doing, knowing them by name because of social media and programs and platforms like this. When these celebrities come, man, they feel a part of the program. You saw all those tweets and you saw the commentary. These celebs out there, they talk about Shador like, they know him and kick it with him. And it's because the narrative that's been shown and the information is out. You pull for people and you pull for people you like, and everybody is liking Colorado football right now.
Look, Neely, I'm looking at Lil Wayne do his concert. I'm like, Drake has a new single out. He needs to show up next week and push it. You could push your music on a pregame show in Boulder, Colorado, probably better than you could making a national radio tour with iHeart or whoever.
Absolutely, you could, Tolly. And when you look at the numbers, those first two games, I haven't seen them from week 3 yet, but you're looking at 7 and 8 million people watching the game. More people watching, TCU versus Colorado or Nebraska and Colorado than were watching Alabama games and Georgia games. It's just been a shift, man, a seismic shift in the landscape of college football. And if you go to where that earthquake has started, the epicenter is Boulder, Colorado, and standing right on that spot is Coach Bryant.
All right, let's hear from some of the celebrities that you did get a chance to talk to. I've been pouring through the video. What we like to do here on the Rewind, the pregame show Rewind, is kind of take you through some of the highlights that we've had on YouTube all week long. All right, you had a chance to talk to Master P. We got some sound from The Rock, and we also got a bit of a surprise. Miss Connie leading the pregame speech. Let's check it out.
Man, let me tell you something. Me and Snoop took a cereal company from nothing and turned it into an empire. This man took a school, a community, to where people are investing back. Talk about economic empowerment. This town is making money. They got stars coming here, and he's changing the game, and this is what it's about. We should be able to do this everywhere. Prime don't want this to stop with him. We want other coaches look like us to go to these places and take over and do what they need to do.
Not only Coach Bryant and the coaching staff, but it's what you guys are doing too. I believe deeply in this idea, and I know Coach does too as well, and that is we can control with our own 2 hands and putting in that effort with our own 2 hands. So tonight, go out there, do what you do, make it personal, and kick that ass.
But he alluded to the fact that his mama raised him, and my mama didn't raise me right.
Who's not taking it, Grandma? Who's not taking it, Grandma?
I raised him right. Also told him to always be yourself. And if you have to kick ass, kick ass.
Now give me my theme music.
All right, so there's a lot there. Miss Connie didn't say a lot, but she chose her words very carefully, and they carried some weight. Neely, a lot of people haven't seen this type of back and forth, this type of this type of smoke, if you will. We saw it a couple of times at Jackson State, and Jackson State not only was able to handle it, but also came out and won the game. You kind of touched on this a few minutes ago. Some people might say, oh, man, this is a distraction. How can you do all that? But again, under Deion Sanders, a man who can do a multitude of things and do them all and dominate them all, like, this doesn't get in the way of the main thing, which is winning the ball game.
Always. I mean, you go back to his high school days, baseball, track and field, basketball, football, and none of them hurt because of the other. Same thing when he got to college, track and field, baseball and football. When he got to the major leagues, baseball and NFL, nothing drops off because of the other thing. And that's what he instills into his student athletes, his players, that, you can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. It's okay to be multi-talented, multifaceted. So when you see these presences around and even distractions coming from other coaches, it excites these guys. They get up for it. But there's nothing on that other side that's the kind of bulletin board material from back in the day that would make players go like, oh, man, we got to get them. Because this team is trying to stop you from scoring every time and trying to score every possession, no matter what the opposing coach says. But now it did add a lot of energy to this in-state rivalry to have the coach pop off like that and alluding to that I'm better raised because my mama taught me and yours didn't.
Well, look, at the end of the day, Neely, this was a win, or there was a win to be had for everyone, even after the game was over, depending on how you look at it. I had never seen Colorado State play in my life. Neely, you could have told me last week Colorado State is a Division II school, and I would have believed you because I had no idea at all. I know a lot more about Colorado State this morning. I know they got some wide receivers. I know they got a tight end. I know they got an offensive line. The quarterback ain't that bad. And look, that was the light. They put on a great show, and I don't think anyone can look at Colorado State in the same light that they did before that game, where a lot of people said, oh, these are some bums, they're going to get run over. That was a great team, and they had some great players, and they should benefit from the performance that they put on Saturday night.
And once again, Tolly, Carr, my partner in crime, you have absolutely nailed it. We have said this time and time again, going back to the early days at Jackson State, all the way through playing programs like ULM, where you were playing up a notch, through the Celebration Bowl and cruising those numbers, and now here in Colorado. When you are Coach Prime's opponent, you're going to get the light on you as well. Number 14, their receiver, was already that guy that was looked at like had some NFL potential. He just got to showcase his stuff against a strong defense, against a team that is talked about every day, a team that is ranked in the top 20. Now people know number 14 from Colorado State. They didn't know him 3 weeks ago like they know him now. And so when you use that synergy and harness the light that's on the other side of the field to show what you got too, it is win, 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 win. You know, like you said, Dolly, people actually know there's a Colorado State now because they were playing Colorado on national TV.
What does this mean? When you look at this, you know, to have celebrities, you know, showing up ad nauseum, you know, just one after the other, just rolling into town, to have your ticket prices go up, to have that bump in traffic, whether it's at the airport, car rental, I don't know if you got tolls in Boulder or whatever. How do you look at it? And I know you have your business mind because we talk business a lot. Like, what are things that you see that you're like, oh, you're winning. Oh, you're winning. Oh, you're enjoying this. Like when you just out and about and you see that as that tide rises, like what boats do you see are rising with that tide?
Every single boat from a canoe to a yacht. Everything in Boulder and the surrounding area is seeing an increase. After last week's game in Nebraska, I went out to eat and, took a little time between the game and going out. But by the time we got to the restaurant, when you're ordering, the guys going down the menu and just politely saying, man, we're out of everything. Like we totally underestimated the crowd that was going to be here. And we actually broke our previous record by 20% in sales, for single day sales. And the day was still going on. Everywhere you go, you see life and energy and the economic impact. And that was one of the things we talked to, Master P about. It's like this guy, Deion Sanders, he has a pool with him that when you have a business mind that you can capitalize off of, and he ain't asking for a piece of it. He ain't saying, hey, the chicken place on the corner, I need 21 of those wings. It's get in where you fit in because the attention and demand are coming. So ride the wave.
Yeah, I would love to be in the sunglasses manufacturing business about a week ago.
I will tell you this because it's been disclosed publicly. The deal he did with that company a couple of weeks ago when it was solidified, right going into the season, that first night when they went out and after the coach over there said what he said, they did over $1 million in sales, Tolly. $1 million in sales for sunglasses.
You know what has to be the frustrating part is, you're just an everyday, guy like me. You're the coach at Colorado State or whatever. You could say something and someone else can turn your words into millions of dollars. But you can't take those same words that you said and make $1 million off of it. That has to be like, damn.
As many times as we've seen the Godfather movie, we've also seen this movie play out with Coach Prime. You remember, he ain't swag, he ain't us, he ain't swag, got twisted to who ain't swag. And then you got T-shirts, mugs, bumper stickers, you name it. So there is a cottage industry that surrounds this man that can grow into a metropolis area, if you will, if harnessed right. But you're exactly right, man. Branding and marketing genius and knows how to take a stone that was thrown at him and build a house with it.
I mean, you have to be sitting there like, I said that. That came out of my mouth.
Where
and he
my
got the money. Wow. It is something. Real quickly, Neely, I want to acknowledge some of our fans. I'm going to scroll through here. We got another uncle. This is Uncle Tub. He's on YouTube. He commented earlier today. He's at Big Tub Gaming 9806. We get such great engagement from our fans. The conversation goes back and forth. I get notifications on my phone. Y'all be arguing. I be just eating my popcorn and watching y'all argue back and forth. But here's what he says. He says, I love how he, talking about Coach Prime, loved on Jimmy when Jimmy needed the most. He didn't bench him. He let him know that we are going to keep coming to you because we need you. That was beautiful. Go Buffs. So Uncle Tub out there, thanks for hanging out with us. And that was quite a move. That was captured on cameras. You know, a lot of times, you know, we see players, you know, they get their butt handed to them on the sideline. They drop one too many balls, but sometimes it's tough love. It's the right love. It's whatever's called for in that moment. And that paid off as Jimmy Horn Jr. came up with a really, really clutch touchdown late in that game.
Yeah, I think that you see that from top to bottom with the staff. They know how to ride you, but also know how to love on you when it's needed. And that's the thing about this program, particularly QB to the wide receivers. On any given night, it's going to be any given player's moment, man. It's going to come to you because Shedeur Sanders spreads that ball around. And just because you had a bad first quarter, we still need you the rest of this game and still need you the rest of this season. So Coach Prime knows how, you know, to pour in the guys and get the best out of them, even in their worst moments.
All right, this is the Pregame Show Rewind. And make sure you check us out. You can find us online, thepregameshow.com. Of course, you know where the YouTube channel is because that's where you're watching this right now, most likely. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you have not subscribed, make sure you do that. Turn those notifications on because, look, Uncle Neely is dropping it like it's hot, man. You don't know who you're going to get. You're going to get Uncle P. You're going to get The Rock. I would have loved to see you catch the people's elbow just to let us know how it feels, man. You were right there with The Rock. That would have been a perfect ending to it all.
It was the other way around. You know what? I told The Rock, I said, man, you know, I interviewed you when you brought the XFL to Jackson State, and it was a big catalyst for this YouTube channel as far as bringing in folks who are not familiar with Jackson State. And I said, here we are again on this sideline. I said, man, just think what you could do for my program now if you let me drop the people's elbow you on the 50.
I take it that didn't go over. I don't think you sold it hard enough.
It didn't work.
It was a nice try. It was a nice try. All right, that's it for this week's episode 7 of the Pregame Show Rewind. We'll catch you next week. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel all week long, especially the big boys. That's going to be dropping soon. Coach Reed is going to drop some knowledge. We're going to get more into X's and O's and what's coming up on the horizon because there are some even bigger games, if you can believe it, on the way for Colorado. For Uncle Neely, I'm Tolly Carr in Atlanta. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.